So picture this, y'all. I'm strutting through the colorful streets of Cartagena, Colombia, when I suddenly do that paranoid pat down dance. Yeah, my wallet is missing. That's right, I got pickpocketed. Not once, but twice for the same wallet in the same trip. And you might be sitting here thinking like, how in the world do they take the same? Man, look, don't worry. I'll get into the story in a sec. But honestly, despite a couple pickpockets, a ton of begging, and some sketchy moments, this Colombia trip turned out to be one of the best travel experiences of my life, hands down. The food alone was worth all the drama, but I want to make sure that you can enjoy it without the chaos. So this right here is part one of a two-part Cartagena travel guide, and I'm breaking down 10 life-saving, trip-enhancing tips that you need to know before you go. So before you think about booking that flight, listen up. Trust me, you will thank me later. All right, so let's dive in.
Give it to me.
Tip number one is keep your valuables on lock and watch your stuff. So look, I'm in Cartagena's old city, vibing the street music, when bam, what I just had a minute ago is gone, like vanished like a David Blaine trick. 5 minutes later, I'm standing there in panic, patting myself down as if my wallet might reappear, and spoiler, it didn't. Well, kinda. So the crazy thing is, a day or two later, my wallet was returned by a knock at the door. The lady who returned it was older and she was asking for cash for returning it. So all in all, I realized that, one, we were being watched because of course, nothing in my wallet said that I was staying at that Airbnb, and two, that she might have been behind it getting took. The second time, it was a little bit more cringe. So look, working women in prostitution is huge in Colombia. Personally, I don't judge anyone who participates or works in that space, but it's not my cup of tea, honestly. I just wish it was more like Amsterdam, where you can go to a specific part of the city to partake in these extracurricular activities. But no, they are everywhere, and they are pulling and grabbing you as you are trying to get away. One girl was harassing me and grabbing me while I was returning from a quick store run. I say no at least 30 times. Finally, I escaped her presence, and luckily I patted myself down immediately. I turned right around. I was like, give me my wallet. And she was like, me no have. Check my purse. And it wasn't in her purse. And I like patted her down a little bit. Tell me why it was under her freaking underarm. I was like, she was so good. So the second time I caught it after it was taken, but the entire time I felt nothing but uncomfortable being harassed. And getting pickpocketed is basically like a rite of passage if you're not careful. And I learned the hard way twice. So clearly I was giving out free samples of my stuff. Like, I laugh about it now, but at the time it was stressful. The craziest part, I'm not alone. It turns out that petty theft is the most common issue tourists face in Cartagena. In fact, official stats show that petty crimes like pickpocketing are common in crowded areas. So basically the very places that you will be hanging out, like the bustling old town and busy plazas. So don't think it's just you. Even the US State Department warns about it in their travel advisories. It's not that Colombia is insanely dangerous, it's that crowds attract sneaky fingers. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, protect your stuff. So the takeaway for tip number one is watch your stuff like a hawk. Rock a money belt or a secure crossbody bag, keep zippers zipped, and don't go waving your new iPhone around in the busy street. When I finally got smart, I stuck my wallet in my front pocket and I kept my hand on my bag in the crowds. So remember, petty thieves are pros at what they do, but a little vigilance goes a long way. Keep your eyes open, your grip tight, and you will be just fine. Tip number two is handle the hustle, dealing with street entrepreneurs. So look, honestly, if you think New York City hustlers are persistent, wait until you meet Cartagena street vendors. The hustle in Colombia is real. They are top-notch salesmen, and I work in sales and I want to hire them. 1 minute I'm strolling along the beach, the next I got 3 guys trying to sell me hats, sunglasses, and even a massage, all at once. I'm pretty sure I got offered a Rolex, a puppy, and a private island in the span of 10 minutes. Travel insiders note that street vendors in Cartagena can use aggressive tactics. They'll crowd around tourists, pushing everything from necklaces to boat tours. Some might even offer illegal stuff. Like, honestly, it really can be overwhelming. But guess what? It's all a part of the game in many developing tourist hotspots. You are not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. You are in the land of hustle. The key is knowing how to handle it like a pro. The tip here is to really just be polite but firm. Channel your inner Ice Cube. A cool, confident, no gracias kinda goes a long way, but don't feel obligated to stop or buy something just because someone asks. I learned to keep walking with a smile and a no thank you, like I am on a mission. And if someone gets too in your face, don't be afraid to set boundaries. I actually looked up a saying and I started saying, amigo tranquilo, which means buddy calm down, with a grin. They usually back off and go on to their next potential customer. So hopefully we all know avoid flashing cash when buying from street sellers and always negotiate the price. Vendors usually quote people gringo prices, so there's no need to be rude, just assertive. Remember, they hustle everyone. You are not just being singled out. Stay cool, keep your wits, and you'll navigate Cartagena's hustle culture just fine, maybe with a funny story or two, and I'll tell some of those later. So tip number 3 is don't get grifted. These are the common scams to avoid. So look, tip number 3 is all about playing detective and avoiding those gotcha moments. Think about it like a mini game during your trip. Spot the scam. Unfortunately, scams are as global as McDonald's. Like, you will find them everywhere. And Colombia is no exception. Before my trip, I had heard and read about the classic mustard scam, where someone accidentally squirts mustard on something that you have, and then their oh so helpful friend swoops in and try to help to clean it, and then they clean out your pockets instead. But here's where it get real. So look, one day I was standing outside the place I was staying with a young girl. She was super sweet and respectful. She asked if I could help her buy some groceries from the little store nearby. I was like, you know what? Yeah, of course. I felt like it was the right thing to do. So I walked with her to the shop, and while we were walking, she goes, actually, can I get diapers instead? And I'm like, no problem. Then she asks, can I get 2? And I'm like, sure, still, it's not a big deal. Then she starts pointing out other stuff, and I'm just standing there like, I mean, okay. I mean, it is cheap, so I might as well let her get a few more things. I'm just being nice, and I'm feeling guilty. I'm just trying to help. So then I told her to go ahead and grab more and get what you need. But then later, someone actually told me that this is a well-known scam in tourist areas. So you buy items like diapers or formula, and then after you leave, they return it to the store for cash or store credit. It's not like she was scamming me aggressively or being shady, and that's what makes it tricky. It's emotional. It feels like you're doing the right thing, but it's a part of the hustle. And when I look back at it, I realized this probably wasn't her first time asking someone in front of that exact store. These kind of setups are called compassion scams, and they hit differently because they target your kindness, not really your wallet directly. Cartagena is known for a few of these, especially in high traffic tourist zones. According to traveler safety tips, distractions and emotional appeals are some of the most effective ways scammers operate. They're not usually violent or dramatic, they're subtle. This happens in places like Thailand, Morocco, even Europe. The second big scam to watch out for is overcharging tourists. Street vendors might try to hit you with that gringo price, like I said before. If you don't ask first, you need to negotiate. The tip here is keep your scam radar turned on and don't let emotions override awareness. If something feels too convenient or too emotional too fast, just pause. You can still be kind, just be smart about it. A quick few rules: if someone asks you for help and it feels scripted, it probably is. For street vendors, always ask the price before buying anything, which is cuánto cuesta. Should be in your daily vocabulary. And don't accept mystery gifts or anything free because they will harass you for money. Use Uber and trusted taxis to avoid fare exams. When eating out, check your bills because some try to sneak in extra beers that you never ordered. So a true story. And just remember, the scams aren't dramatic or dangerous. They're clever, but you're smarter. Trust your gut, stay alert, and you'll avoid most of these traps with ease. Cartagena is amazing. Just bring your heart and your street smarts. And with that combo, your trip will be right on point. Tip number 4 is Uber is your amigo. It's safe and cheap. So look, I love walking around new cities, but Cartagena heat will have you hailing a ride real quick. More on that heat in tip number 6. So enter Uber, my personal Colombian chariot. Let me tell you, discovering Uber works in Cartagena felt like riding an oasis in the desert. So I whip out my phone, open Uber, and hallelujah, a driver is 2 minutes away. And get this, he rolls up in a nice air-conditioned car. He offers me a bottle of water, so 5 stars for Jose. And then the ride across town costs like $3. I could have spent more on a cup of coffee back home. I've Ubered everywhere in Cartagena, I swear. In all seriousness, using rideshare made the ride feel a lot safer, and it saved me from the potential drama of haggling with taxi drivers or risking, a bus ride with 3 backpacks and a camera on me. So look, public buses in Colombia can be riskier due to petty theft. Meanwhile, ride shares and official taxis are recommended for tourists, and the cost is super affordable. According to traveler data, people spend only around $7 per day on local transportation in Cartagena on average. So the bottom line here is getting around Cartagena is easy and cheap if you do it smart. You can save your energy for exploring, not arguing with the taxi driver over a few thousand pesos. So Uber on, my friends, please. Tip number 5 is no habla español, then learn some. Estoy practicando mi español, necesito practicar más. So look, newsflash, Dora the Explorer lied to us. Not everyone speaks English, and that is okay. In Colombia, you are in Spanish-speaking territory, and a little Espanol will go a long way. On my first day, I walked into a cafe and I blurted out, "Hello, 1 coffee, please." In English, right? And the barista blinked at me like I had just spoken Martian. My bad. I quickly switched to un café por favor, and then boom, coffee in hand, no confusion. But I won't lie, if I hadn't brushed up on my key phrases, I might still be lost in Cartagena. So that's the thing. English isn't widely spoken in Colombia. Only around 4% of Colombians claim they speak English, so that's practically nobody in a random crowd. Colombia actually ranks low on global English proficiency indexes, which they label it low proficiency. So outside of maybe some hotel or tour guides, don't expect folks to really understand English. In Cartagena tourist areas, you'll find some bilingual people, sure, but the average Uber driver, street food vendor, or museum guard will likely communicate only in Spanish. And just embrace it. This is your chance to shine with those Duolingo teachings. So with that, learn a few key phrases before you go. I'm not saying you need to recite a ton, but just know the basics like hola, por favor, gracias, cuánto cuesta, dónde estás, and of course the clutch one, no gracias. So I got so many smiles and encouragements for my mediocre Spanglish. It honestly bridges the gap and it shows respect. And if you totally butcher a word and everyone laughs, congrats, you just made a memory. So please, brush up on that Espanol, mi amigo. Even a little effort will make your trip smoother and more fun. And that's just tip number 5. So look, we haven't even gotten to the part where I melt in Cartagena's heat like a candle in church, discover the best seafood of my life, or almost die on a jet ski. So look, part 2 drops next, or if it's already out, go ahead and binge it. The link is floating around somewhere on the screen or in the description below. And hey, if this video helped you out or made you laugh in my travel trauma, do me a solid, please, and hit that like and subscribe button, and then drop a comment about your craziest travel story. And if you are planning a trip and you want real help mapping it out, I run a travel agency and it's called Tailor Made Escapades. I've got custom itineraries, deals, and travel tips on deck. The link is in the description if you need to plug. So look, I will see y'all in part 2. Peace.